last video, we covered how to tackle slushy snow. In this one, we're moving on to the other extreme, how to handle icy conditions. This is what often happens when you're on ice. We'll take a closer look at exactly what's going on in just a moment. There's a clear reason why things you can normally do on a groomed run suddenly become impossible on slush or ice. Let's look at the difference between a groomed run and ice. The difference is obvious. The surface is hard, no surprises there. But here's the logic. Hard surface equals less edge bite equals easy to wash out. It makes sense, right? If your edge normally digs in 2 centimeters on ice, you can expect that to drop to less than 1 centimeter. As explained in my slush mastery video, if we take a standard groomed run as our baseline, ice and slush are polar opposites. Ice is hard, meaning a shallow edge bite and less grip. Slush is soft, causing an excessive bite that buries your board. Hero snow, the ultimate surface for carving, sits right before it turns into ice. By the way, we use the term kami ban for hero snow in Japan. Kami is Japanese for God, and ban is German for slope. We call it God-tier slopes because the grooming is so perfect it feels heavenly. If you ever go to Japan for snowboarding, you'll definitely encounter some perfectly groomed kami ban. Also, when we hit conditions like that, we often just call it the day. Have you had the day yet this season? Now let's finally get into the main topic, how to master carving on icy conditions. On ice, the most important thing is to avoid any movements associated with the word sudden. This means sudden edging, sudden acceleration, and sudden shifts of your center of mass, all more so than usual. I'll explain this in detail later. First, let's start with a breakdown of where it typically goes wrong. Here, I'm trying to step on the board to make it accelerate. On a normal slope, if the edge is in a state where it bites into the snow surface, it's fine to step on or push the board here. I'll leave the exact nuance to you. You can accelerate using the rebound from stepping or pushing, but as you can see, the edge is hardly biting at all. If you make this kind of movement here, well, of course, it's going to wash out. Yes, you can see the edge washing out right here. If you look at how the edge is biting, it's biting very thinly. I get it. Up until a certain point, I felt exactly the same way as you. There's no way you can carve on an icy slope. However, after getting some invaluable tips from a friend and putting them through endless practice and trial and error, I finally arrived at a solid conclusion. Based on that input and my own experience, my take on ice countermeasures is this. Do not concentrate pressure on a single point. I believe that on both slushy snow and ice, as a common point, applying pressure to only one point leads to trouble. If it's ice, it washes out. If it's slush, the snow surface collapses. In the case of slush, it is possible to ride by packing down the snow, but I think it's quite difficult to ride an entire series of consecutive turns by packing them all down. Based on those principles, I've refined a specific riding style for ice. I'm making sure not to apply intense pressure to any single point during the turn, no matter what. The image is like walking a tightrope while riding cleanly on the edge. You could even say that I don't move much. This leads us to what I call the 3 golden rules for ice. To put that anti-sudden concept into practice, you must minimize vertical movement, more than you think. Avoid aggressive stepping or pushing. Refrain from forced upper body rotation. If you ignore these, by abruptly shifting your weight or trying to power through with heavy rotation, the edge will inevitably wash out. My point is to keep everything much more subtle than usual. I'm not saying to make it zero, but it needs to be far more controlled. By the way, riding a board with properly sharpened edges is a prerequisite for carving on ice. I rode a dry slope because icy slopes and dry slopes are similar, but I couldn't ride at all without edges. Here's the footage of me riding a board I bought for $50 on eBay with zero maintenance. It's just sliding all over, isn't it? Later, I sharpened the edges until they were razor sharp. A 1 degree or 2 degree side bevel is standard for carvers. I rode the dry slope at 4 degree side bevel. Here's that video. Well, I'm riding normally, right? If the edge is sharp, you won't be sliding all over. By the way, the board in the photo on the left was almost zero maintenance on the edge, so it was tough on ice. The board on the right was in its first year since purchase, so the edges were razor sharp. Naturally, it was easy to ride. To be honest, unless you're on ice, I don't think edge sharpness makes a huge difference. In normal snow conditions, whether your edges are razor sharp or a bit dull, the impact on your riding is pretty minimal. Now on Hero Snow, honestly, anything goes. It looks like this. The conditions are so perfect that I can just charge down the slope. Here, I'm engaging the edge here with my front foot. Mid-turn, I shift my weight toward the nose, partly to flex the board, so I'm keeping my front knees lightly bent. From there, I extend it again and really lean forward, almost in a Vitelli turn style. If the snow is this good, you can ride front heavy or back heavy. It's really up to your personal preference. At this point, I'd say my center of mass is somewhere between my front foot and the nose. On Hero Snow, it's perfectly fine to be this far forward. As I head into the latter half of the turn, I bring my center of mass back down and transition toward the toe side engagement. Here's the relationship between the snow condition and your center of mass. As the surface gets icier and harder, you actually have a bit more freedom to ride forward, as long as you don't overdo it. However, as the snow gets slushier and softer, riding too far forward will cause the nose to get buried. You have to fine-tune your forward weighting based on snow conditions. In my riding style, I keep my center of mass over the front foot's high back during hillside turns. However, even if your style is to keep the weight more toward the back foot, you still need to position your head over the front foot to keep it pressed down. The key is to find the sweet spot. If you let your head drift too far forward, you'll lose that delicate balance. Let's summarize how to carve in icy conditions and slushy snow. In icy conditions, the problem is edge washout. To hold your line, you must eliminate all sudden actions. No vertical movements, no sudden stepping or pushing, and no forced rotation for acceleration. Keep it calm. In slushy snow, the problem is edge buried. To stay on top, you need to reduce your intensity. Lighten your front weighting, use a shallower edge angle, and avoid concentrated pressure on a single point during the transition. So, think you're ready to rip? Hold on, let's get real. In the real world, conditions are always shifting, and more often than not, you're stuck somewhere in between. Between groomers and ice, or between groomer and slush. You'll rarely spend your whole day on a textbook slope. This is why you must constantly calibrate. Don't just stick to one way of riding. If it's getting hard, stop any sudden movements. If it's softening up, reduce your forward weighting and angle. This conscious, minute adjustment, finding the right balance in that in-between, is what it truly means to carve like a pro. Some of you might have wrapped up your season already, but don't go anywhere just yet. It was a pleasure coaching over 100 riders again this season. A huge thank you to everyone who traveled all the way to Japan for our lessons. We are so grateful for all the amazing people we met this year. That's truly the best part of snowboard carving. We've got plenty of footage and tips to share, so stay tuned for more. Quick question, what carving tips or videos do you want to see during the off-season? Let us know in the comments.